Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to the third season of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I am your host, Janice Carter Miller, and thank you for continuing to join us on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. We're looking at 2023 when we'll actually be able to have dinner. Maybe COVID will be all the way out the door and everybody's got 3 boosters. And along with that, coming up in November, I want everyone to vote. We have got to vote. This is going to be my mantra for the month of October. Vote in November. First Tuesday in November. Vote, vote, vote. They're trying to take our rights. Vote, vote, vote. We can't let them. We can't let them. So I'm inviting you today to grab your dinner, grab your meal, sit down, relax, get comfortable, because I want you to meet a young lady that just knocked my socks off last month when I was able to engage her in a speaking engagement for Mr. Bruce Johnson at his memorial book release at the Ali Center. And she is just a ray of sunshine. I didn't know her, but I got to meet her, but we really didn't get to have time to have a conversation. So I would like to present to some and introduce to others my guest for the day, Miss Sherlene Shanklin.
Hello.
Sherlene, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, and thank you so much for having me.
You are gracious, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
are a gracious guest for me to have. I am very honored to have you. You've been doing fabulous work,
Thank you.
and I don't know a lot about you. So tell me, what is Sherlene Shanklin's story?
Yes, ma'am. My story. I grew up in the West End of Louisville. That has been my home for many years. I went on to Western Kentucky University and I majored in communications and broadcasting. Then I got out into the work field and worked for a while. And then I went back and got my double master's in management and human resource development. And I was an executive in the healthcare field. And my father wanted to know, why wasn't I doing what my heart wanted me to do?
Yeah,
And that was communications and broadcasting. And at that time, it was just so hard for people of color to get into the media, television, news, very hard. And our civil rights activists in Louisville actually were at the 4 TV stations saying, you need more people of color. And
right.
they said, we need people of color that know what they're doing and they have the education. So they put out this appeal to the community looking for African Americans in that knew how to do it. And because I went to Western Kentucky, that's one of the top communications in this state. So
Okay.
I was ready to go and do TV right out of college. So
Okay.
I was hired along with about 7 or 8 others. And some 31 years later, that's now, I'm about the only one that was still in it. But the civil rights activists
Where were
in this
you first
state,
hired?
I was first hired at Wave 3, and
Okay.
I was there for 12 years. They taught me everything from behind the scenes. I knew how to direct, associate direct, run camera, floor direct. I was actually nominated for multiple Emmys for floor directing at that time, and Jackie Hayes was my anchor, and John Belsky. So those things helped me. But then once I started getting good at it, then I got recruited away, just like you do in the NBA and NFL.
Right.
The people over at Channel 11, WHAS, said, we want her on our team. She's a go getter. And I think the reason why they noticed me was when I was at Wave, war broke out, and President Bush announced that we were going to war right after 9/11. And I was a part of the 9/11 coverage and everything. I was working in TV at that time, and I was there for 12 years. But when President Bush came out and said that we were going to war, I was the producer over at Wave by myself with an anchor, and we ran to the set and I ran to the booth, and we extended and talked about statistics, because we knew that that's what he was going to say, but we could not say it. We had to let him say it.
Right.
So when they count us down and they said, at that time, NBC, they said, NBC station, stand by for the president. And I was talking in my anchor's ear and I said, here we go in 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we cut right to national news and President Bush did it. And the person over at WHAS wanted to know who was that person that just pulled that off. And it was me. And they started recruiting me away. And it's a funny story that Rachel Platt was another one of my advocates, and I never knew it until years later. But on the backside of Churchill Downs, we used to have to compete against who had the best guest. Well, I knew all the jockeys and everything, and I knew the trainers just from pictures. And I would walk up on them and say, hey, I'm with the official station for the Derby. Would you like to come and talk to me? Well, Rachel Platt's guests were like, this young lady said I had to go with her first. And Rachel Platt went to her office at WHAS and said, I want that young lady on my team. And lo and behold, when I applied and everything, I actually got it thanks to Rachel Platt, knowing that I was really trying to make a difference in the community. And I started on the backside of Churchill Downs.
Did you notice that Rachel was at the memorial?
I did. And believe it or not, between you and I and your guest, guess what she did the very next day? She texted me and wanted to know how I did. And she said she was proud of me. So that lets me know that we've been friends now for about 15 years and we still stay in touch. And that really, really made my day when she said, go get them, kid. And
that's
pretty much she's been a motivator behind the scene along with Doug Prophet for many years for me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
And so tell me, what I'd like to do now is cut away. We're talking about the speech that you gave at the book memorial for Bruce Johnson, another Louisvillian that maybe didn't get his just due at home. Right. So let me pull up. Let me give you a sneak peek at what made me fall in love with Miss Sherlene Shanklin, because the sister girl was on point. So this is your part of your speech at the memorial service for Mr. Bruce Johnson. Hold on.
I truly believe Louisvillians have that trait. A champion for the right to see himself and other African Americans on TV and behind the scenes in key positions. An overachiever, a fact finder, a person with solid news judgment, detail-oriented, curious, insightful, integrity, knowledgeable, forward-thinking, storyteller, and dreamer. All describe Mr. Johnson. He started his career as a journalist. There were a few Black journalists in the industry. Today, thousands, again, thousands, work on every level as a professional in broadcast news. He helped set the standard. When someone says, are there any renowned African Americans from Kentucky who helped pave the way? Remind them of Alice Dunnigan of Russellville, the first Black journalist to accompany a president. That president was Harry S. Truman in 1948 on the campaign tour. She received the first White House credential as a Black woman. A Kentuckian did that. Remind them of Monica Kaufman Pearson of the Smoketown neighborhood. She was the first Black woman to anchor an evening newscast in Georgia. Initially, she got the reporter position over Oprah Winfrey. A Kentuckian did that. And if you haven't already, remind them of a man by the name of Chester Bruce Johnson from the Chickasaw neighborhood who overcame many hardships and obstacles, never keeping him down, but motivated him to never give up in the field and likely told him he would not last. Some 45 years later, he was receiving the Hall of Fame for the Society of Professional Journalists. He survived the deep water and left a playbook in the form of books to tell his story to future journalists. showing that it can be done. A Kentucky did that. With hard work, determination, knowledge, finding a niche like politics and urban affairs, and having some self-confidence, you too can leave an impact on society and help fill the holes of our history like Mr. Johnson tried to do each and every day of his life. And we are forever grateful. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You know, I see something behind you. What? I see an award behind you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's my Emmy Award.
Girlfriend's got an Emmy. You
Yes,
go,
ma'am.
girl.
I sure do. Here it is.
Yes,
I
beautiful.
actually have been nominated for multiple Emmys, but I actually won one, and this has been a blessing. I had this one for the Kroger shooting that happened here in Louisville, Kentucky. I've been nominated for the Muhammad Ali Memorial. Those family members were so gracious to me, and they said it was some of the best coverage they had seen. Because we all grew up knowing who Muhammad Ali was. That's
But the
right.
family of Mr. Stallard,
Uh-huh.
his wife was my roommate at Kentucky State.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah,
Yes,
we were
ma'am.
roommates. So, yeah, that was a tragic time for us
Yes, ma'am.
in
Yes,
this
ma'am.
city.
Yes, ma'am. And it really was. And I grew up knowing his daughter as well. And she has become a courageous leader in this community. And she
Right.
is being in the forefront on justice. And I'm just so proud to see how she is being able to carry on, even though she has grief, but carry on his legacy as well as the others, and to keep his memory alive with so many things they're doing in the community.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
tell me, what do you see for Sherlene Shanklin moving forward?
Well, coming forward is 2023, and like we talked before, I am an even number person. I love things to be done decently in order, but for some reason, odd numbers are my years of increase. So I am anticipating 2023 to be a big year for me, not only just as a TV personality or a journalist, because people don't understand this is one of the hardest careers that you have to have, where you have to put race and journalism together. We're the only organization where Black people have to cover Black people type of things, if you understand what I'm saying. So we
Right.
always have to put our race next to, should we do this, shouldn't we do this, but we don't see anybody else doing those type of things.
Right.
So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So I'm taking that pressure off myself in 2023, and I hope to write some books and tell my story. And I'm doing some teaching at Simmons HBCU, doing law and business, and I feel like it's going to be my year to shine, and not shine when it comes to monetary, but to start becoming my authentic self. And
Right.
when you're in television, you're not your authentic self, because we have the weight of our community on our shoulders. And people have to understand that when you're a Black journalist, it is very important to be in the business, but it is very hard to be in this business, because not only what you do for yourself, is what you do for your community. You got to remember also, if I mess up, then somebody behind me won't get the opportunity. So that's the things that I'm trying to shake them off, and realize that if I just continue to be my authentic self, then I am going to leave a legacy that opens the door for many others to lift as they climb when they get in these type of positions.
You're absolutely right. You know, we're under a microscope.
Yes.
You're under
Yes,
a
ma'am.
microscope from the TV station, or the people that put you on the platform where you
Yes,
need to
ma'am.
be. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
you're under a microscope from your community, your Black
Absolutely.
community. Why didn't you do this? You should have told them this.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, of what you can say about
Yes,
really
ma'am.
what you feel about something
Mhm.
that has happened.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. So and that's what people need to understand. We're in closed doors, being your advocate, even when you have no idea. So don't think that it's going unheard when you call me in the middle of the night. And because I am a person of color that's on TV, my phone is always on and it is always ringing. And I'm accepting phone calls from people I don't even know, but I know they need help. And I'm always there to help them. But just because you don't see their story on the air does not mean their story is not being told. And I want people to understand that I have helped so many people in this community that the story never made the air, but they did get a resolution.
Okay. Okay. You know, because sometimes when we do the heavy lifting behind the scenes
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we get the results we're looking for, it doesn't get noticed
That's
in
right.
the public. The overall public may not know
That's
how
right. Yes,
certain
ma'am.
things got resolved because they were done behind the scenes.
Yes, right. Yes, ma'am.
Miss
And
Sherling,
that
so
happens.
let me say this to you.
Mhm.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about, you said you teach at Simmons?
Yes, ma'am. I sure do business law. Been doing it now for about 2 semesters, and I've been teaching for many years, just off and on whenever I have an opportunity. But to teach at a HBCU is something special. I mean to tell you.
So tell me about the building, Miss Ida B. Wells.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Ida B. Wells, a lot of people don't know that she got her start in Kentucky, actually in Louisville. She was one of the first writers for the American Baptist. The American Baptist is headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky. And that is how she got her start. Being a journalist, won the opportunity many years ago, never getting the chance, but the president of Simmons College, who also happened to be a part of the American Baptist, told Ida B. to move to Louisville and become a correspondent. And it's exactly where she got her start. So that's the reason why they named that building after her a couple of weeks ago. And it's because Ida B. was one of the first journalists for the American Baptist, and the American Baptist headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky.
Isn't that something?
Yes, ma'am, it
You
is.
know, Louisville has rich history.
It has.
We
It
have
has.
rich educational history. We have
Absolutely.
educators. So I think you've done covered a lot of stories on different historical people from Louisville, which
Yes,
is a
ma'am, I have.
wonderful thing.
I have, and I started something thanks to the station, and thanks not because of the social unrest, but it brought so much awareness to our community that there were people of color that was doing dynamic things in this city for many, many years. So when we started something called Moments That Matter, Black History, 28 days, 28 stories. I executed 28 stories about people in Kentucky, especially of Louisville, people like Whitney Young Jr., that people have no idea that he was a part of the Big Six. The Big Six, I'm
Right.
talking about with Dr. Martin Luther King and
Martin
others when they,
Right.
the March on Washington. A Louisville man was
Right.
standing right there. And really, he's actually from Finchville, Kentucky. And those are the stories that you need to know. Emma Lucille Allen. She's starting to get her due right now, but she was one of the first Black
Miss
chemists for
Elma.
Brown and Forman. And you see her in the grocery store and you go, oh, that's the lady that does the fantastic art. Well, see that generation gap we're talking about, that
Right.
people had no idea what she initially did. She
Right.
is a hidden figure that people need to know about. And those are the people that I've been looking for over the past 2 years to tell their stories so that others know behind them that even though they're not learning it in school, they're learning it in churches, they're seeing it on different type of things. So I'm trying to create a platform that we do not lose our history.
You know, you said the two words that sounds like it could be a subtitle for your 28 days in your upcoming Black History, that these are hidden figures in our community. Isn't that
Absolutely.
something? Well,
Absolutely.
Miss Charlene, let me tell you something.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been one of those lights that goes off in my life. When I learned something about the journalists that you were talking about that had their start in Louisville, and I got to meet you more
Yes,
so
ma'am.
today than any other day. And we are going to break bread together, my sister,
Absolutely. Yes,
as
ma'am. I
soon
would love
as
to.
feasibly possible. Because I know,
Yes,
see,
ma'am.
you the hardest working girl in television that I know of right now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do.
I want to tell you if you ever want to come back and tell more of your story, or tell a story about the story that you've written when your book comes out,
Yes,
please
ma'am.
just give me a call, because I'm here for you.
I
And if I can
appreciate your
help you in
support.
any way, please just let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You just don't know how much this means.
Well, it means a lot to me. I feel like we kind of connected. We're kind of on the same wavelength. We've got different platforms,
Mhm.
but we want to do the same thing in service to our community, because
Absolutely.
our
Yes, ma'am.
community needs information.
Mhm.
They need knowledge about the past, so that we can navigate the present and look forward to the future. Ms.
Absolutely.
Sherlene Shanklin, thank you so much for being
Yes,
a
ma'am.
dinner guest. Go have dinner, darling. It's dinner
Yes,
time.
ma'am. I will. So much. I
Bon
enjoyed myself.
appetit. All right, darling. Take care of yourself.
All right. You do the same.
Bye-bye. All right. That was Miss Sherlene Shanklin. Wasn't she delightful? And wow, look at the history that she has behind her, the experience. And she's almost a hidden gem, but hopefully, I brought a little light to that hidden gem so that she could shine. She shines all the time over at WHAS, but now we have to pay more attention to Miss Sherlene Shanklin. Okay? All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining me for the premiere of season 3 of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So at this time, I must say it's dinner time. I'll see you next week. This show will play once again on Friday, 7 p.m., Facebook, YouTube, Roku, under the name of Jantastic Productions. That's what you type in, Jantastic Productions. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know you're watching. Hit the like button on Facebook. And bon appetit. I'll see you next week. Thank you.